Welcome to the Skill Locked profile, where every Skyblock year I spin a wheel and can only level one of the 5 major Skyblock skills, with the eventual goal of maxing all 5 of them. Last time we rolled combat, and during the year we became capable of grinding the highest tier of Zombie Slayer boss, and we got our rarest drop so far, the Scythe Blade. The 6th Skyblock year begins shortly, with both crazy luck and costly problems in sight. But before we get started, we need to spin the wheel that decides our fate. And here we go. Let's see what we get next cycle. And the answer is... looks like it's another fishing week. Welcome back to Fishing Week number 2. Now, normally at the beginning of weeks, I have a lot of things I need to do before I actually get started, but I actually left off fishing in a pretty good spot, and I can pretty much jump right back in, especially considering that there's been a major update since the last fishing episode. Notably, the Lotus Atoll has dropped. I still have over 200 fishing speed, as you can see here, so I can instantly fish on the bayou, which is where I will be spending at least a little bit of time. The first goal for the week is to hit fishing 24. It opens up a lot of progression, notably the Rod of the Sea I could pick up, as well as shark scale armor, and the eventual goal, hopefully by the end of this week, we could hit all the way up to fishing 27 or 28. To start the week off right, first I decided to pick up a booster cookie, and then I went over to Galatea to head to the red house on the bottom right side of the Moonglade Marsh. There I could interact with Coral and hand in many of Skyblock's special fish in order to get a fishing XP reward. These were super cheap, and I got over 100,000 fishing XP. After that was done, I decided to go back to my private island, where I could pick up my fishing minion and collect everything within. That got me progress on pretty much every single fishing collection, meaning the rest of the week would go by way easier since I actually had the crafts for many different types of bait, as well as things that I would need to make in the future, like accessories. So now we are back on the bayou, and as you can see, it's totally different than the last time we were here, but if we just toss our fishing rod, as you can see, we can insta-fish, which is very nice. It's going to make the process of getting XP here very quick, which is good. We're also going to be able to unlock the Lotus Atoll during this week. Now, I don't know if it's going to be an immediate focus for me. I think I'm just going to go for fishing 24 first. I don't really know if getting access to the Lotus Atoll will really do a lot for me instantaneously. As part of the major Lotus Atoll update, one of the big ticket features was the chapter system being introduced on the Bayou as well as the Lotus Atoll. Now, the Bayou chapters were more important to me at the moment, as they gave fishing XP, as well as treasure bait, and rusty coins and busted belt buckles. So I spent the first hour getting as far as possible through the chapters, picking up things like a hermit crab pet, applying things to my rod like the stingy sinker. Eventually I ended up at the end of chapter 5, moving on to chapter 6, and at that point I was just ready to coast for the rest of the week, picking up tens of thousands of fishing XP along the way. We need to catch an old leather boot and apply a bronze ship hull, and then we are good on that chapter. But yeah, look at all of that XP. Oh yeah, and they talk about the new system of crewmates that has been added since the last time we were here. So definitely some interesting stuff going on in terms of fishing progression. But there we go. Now we have a fully bronze ship. That's cool. And that means we're 5 out of 6 on this chapter. So let's go get ourselves a old leather boot. You know, after all the confusion in Combat Week, I've got to say it's really nice to get back to an activity that just has very standard, very streamlined progression. Obviously, there's a few things I have to do aside from this. You know, I need to go back over to the Crimson Isle and work on the quest line. I need to unlock the Lotus Atoll fairly soon. But for now, until I get around, you know, fishing 24, I could just chill on this island. There's not a lot extra for me to do. Very relaxing activity. Way less stressful than anything during a combat week. Ooh, there we go. There's an old leather boot. I was actually expecting that to take way, way longer. There's also a wiki ticket here, so we might as well fight it. And it's really cool that we got an old leather boot. Was not expecting that to be so soon as well. So there we go. There's our wiki tiki, and we actually get the bestiary off of that. So we got some loot for assisting, but we didn't get a tiki mask, which would have completely changed the game. But yeah, let's head over to Jonesy That's our last task done. And now we have the final set of tasks here. We already have the Catch a Titanoboa done. We have to craft a Bayou Water Orb, reach Lily Pad Collection 9, apply a treasure hook to your rod, purchase a gold bottle cap, and upgrade to Legendary. And then we get the Pearl of the Swamp. Don't know how much of that we're going to be doing throughout the week. And I think, as part of that, yeah, we got Fishing 23 as well. So there's another fishing level. Now let's move on to Fishing 24. If you're enjoying Skyblock Skill Locked, please make sure to like and subscribe as we're rapidly approaching 100k, and use code RAIL on the Hypixel store for 5% off your order picking up anything. It's the best way to support the channel. Without any further ado though, let's get back to the episode. We're now about halfway through the next fishing level, and so far it hasn't really been that exciting, I'm going to be honest, but we are making a decent amount of money in terms of alligator skins. I already have about 2.5 mil. If I go over to busted belt buckles, if I were to sell all the ones I have, that's another 8 million coins. And then in terms of rusty coins, I have about 6 million worth. Okay, we're about to hit our next fishing level, and I think we might get it after that sledge. No, we don't. We're at 99.98%. Okay. There we go. Now we got Fishing 24. This is pretty big for us. It opens up a lot of possibilities, and it also allows me to upgrade my fishing rod again. I can get the Rod of the Sea. So we're going to spend a little bit of money on all of that right now. But we have a lot of other things to do. Notably, in addition to our new fishing rod, we can get the shark scale armor, I believe. And on top of that, I got to sell some of the extra stuff I got. As you can see, I got 4.5 million in alligator skin, as well as a bunch of other stuff. If I went over to, like, busted belt buckles, I think I have, like, over 10 million coins worth. Yeah, as you can see, 48 of those. So quite a bit of money, all things considered. We're going to sell some of this, I imagine, eventually. But for now, let's go pick up some new gear. Okay, so now we have our great white shark teeth, as well as our enchanted shark fins. And that means I can do this. I can put my shark fins in and my great white shark teeth. Maybe I have to, like, move around the recipe a little bit. There we go. Rod of the Sea. And that will be really solid of an upgrade. Gives us a lot more fishing speed, which is awesome. Gives us some more sea creature chance as well. Let's pick that up, and there we go. We also get 100k carpentry XP out of that. And next we'll work on our armor, which I think actually is pretty cheap. Anything calcified would be really what we want here. So let's see if anyone else has anything that's already been upgraded. And it doesn't look like anyone has anything that's been upgraded for very cheap. So that kind of sucks. Well, I guess we're going to hold on to this piece of gear, and we'll keep looking throughout the day if anyone else puts up any shark scale. Okay, I found a way around my problem. I can pick up this calcified sponge gear on the auction house, and then I can upgrade it to the shark scale. So this kind of saves me a little bit of, searching through the auction house over and over again. Now I just need to actually make the shark scale gear, which just costs enchanted shark fins. We can pick up 6 of those for under 200k coins, which is very, very nice. Should be able to just do this. There we go. So now we have calcified shark scale chest plate. We can do that for the leggings, and then for the boots as well. There we go. And there's also gemstones on these as well, which is incredible. Going to give us a lot more fishing speed compared to our previous gear. After getting all those upgrades, I decided to take a detour to the Crimson Isle to continue the main quest line of the island. Last time around on the combat week, I started up the quest, but I was not able to finish it as I needed to fish up a volcanic stonefish. It kind of worked out luckily this time around. I was able to get the stonefish relatively quickly. It's a 3% drop from fishing inside the blazing volcano. I was able to bring it over to Odger and get this step of the quest completed. That way, the next combat week that rolls around, I'll be able to finish up the quest line and get my hands on Crimson Armor through Kudra, which would be unlocked for me. Normally, in terms of lava fishing progression, what I would pick up at this point to do some Strider Surfers would be the Topaz Rod. Problem is, we can't get it. We don't have Heart of the Mountain Tier 5, and I'm not going to be able to get Heart of the Mountain Tier 5 because I haven't gotten a mining week. So, fishing progression and mining progression are tied together in a way So we're going to have to find a lobby that we could properly Strider Surfer fish in and see what our fishing speed looks like. And there's our first Strider Surfer kill. We actually get the magmatic mob type unlocked. We're not going to be able to claim that for at least a little while. We gotta wait till the next combat week. But for now, we can just kind of chill here and try to fish up a little bit. I don't know if this is going to really be the best method, though. I'm going to be honest with you. We may want to pick up some Achithic gear before we come and do this. Yeah, we can kill the Strider Surfer here. We actually have to use our axe on that. But yeah, that gets us 1400 fishing XP every single time we do it. I don't know if that's going to be really worth it right now in terms of the rates. It might be better for me to go to a different island for now because I'm not able to upgrade my starter lava rod into anything better. But hey, at least we have access to this if we wanted to do it. I think I'm going to head back over to the Bayou, though. I feel like my rates there were pretty solid. Before we go back to Galatea to do any more fishing, I do want to max out the Verdant Shard. This gives you up to 30 fishing speed while on foraging islands, which is pretty nice. Okay, my luck is absolutely insane because not only did I get a condensed lily pad, a little while ago I got this Blessing 6 book, which I could sell for 2.5 mil. That puts me up like 5 mil from this fishing session, and I haven't even been doing that much extra. In fact, it's a lot more than that because of all the enchanted lily pads I'm getting. I also ended up getting a few Moby Ducks, which I didn't realize were worth almost 3 million a pop. So now I'm going to start selling some of these items. Notably, I'm going to sell my condensed lily pad here, as well as, I believe, this Blessing 6 book. We can sell that for about 2.4 mil. Yeah, there it is. So the cheapest snowy stuff is 3.4 mil. Let me actually do that so I can find the gear specifically. 7.5 fishing speed, 0.4 sea creature chance for the cloak for 3.4 mil. I'll probably go for that. I'm not even gonna lie. Definitely want one with a reforge, that's for sure. So let's put that on. That replaces our David's cloak, which is fine. I don't really feel like I need it actively. Let's keep looking for other stuff. Dude, my luck today has been crazy. There's another Blessing 6 book off of, I think that was a Bayou Sludge or a Dumpster Diver. Just absolutely ridiculous. There's another few million coins that we got. Something else I wanted to pick up was the Glowing Mush Mix-In. I think I can consume that, and there we go. We get 50 hours worth of the buff. That gives me another 30 fishing speed, since I don't have the other effect related to the mush active. So that should make it a little bit easier for me to hit these high fishing speed values. Alright, I'm gonna be honest, I want a bit of a change of scenery. So I've grabbed myself a travel scroll to the bayou, I've headed over to Researcher Gilbert underneath the waterfall on the bayou, and we're gonna head over to the Lotus Atoll. I think that the fishing speed I have now will be more than enough to fish over there at max speed, and it's just the change of scenery. We can get some different stuff, maybe get some rare drops. Let's see what'll happen. And there's Gilbert now as part of our crew. Let's head to the Lotus Atoll, and we get a server error. Incredible. And here we are now on the Lotus Atoll. Now, normally what people do when they interact with this island is interact with the trophy frog system. But that's not really what we're here for. We're here for the sea creatures. The reason why is I'm pretty sure they give some solid overall amounts of XP. Like, for example, if I kill that drowned captain right there, I get a decent amount of XP, all things considered. I think that moved me up, yeah, definitely a little bit. I don't think I was at even 70% beforehand. We also get some gold out of that, which I think is pretty funny. And for those who are worried, no, gold doesn't actually give us any sort of mining XP, so we're totally fine to pick up as much as we want. There we go. We actually get a puddle jumper very quickly. That's pretty nice. This creature is pretty funny. He gives you a trophy frog if you end up, riding alongside his back for enough times. I think you only have to actually ride on his back at least once, but still pretty cool. Rare drop, I guess, in terms of a sea creature. He's pretty elusive, all things considered. But we'll just leave him to go jump around, and we'll get back to getting as many kills of sea creatures as possible. But so far, the experience on the island hasn't been bad. I haven't gotten any wrong types of XP, thankfully. I'm trying to, make sure that I don't get any wrong types of XP by just checking the drop tables, but for the most part, it's just a Lotus. There we go. We actually got a taming level there, which is pretty funny. And of course, we get people asking mining when, which hopefully we get it soon, but I have no idea when I'm going to get mining. At this point, I'm kind of just used to not having any sort of mining activity on this profile. I feel like when I eventually get a mining episode, or sorry, I should say if I ever get a mining episode, it's going to be completely different than any other episode so far because I have no idea what I'm even going to do for something like that. I haven't even thought about it really. You know, I don't think that the XP rates on this island are better specifically than on the Bayou, but I will say it's nice having a change of scenery, and I do like how the atoll looks quite a bit. I think I'm going to head back to the Bayou, though, in the near future, simply because you make a lot more money on the Bayou. You're able to just get a lot more rare drops and so on and so forth. It just feels like a more logical place to fish. We actually got our first rare drop here. There's a frog coin for 500,000 coins. Very nice. Maybe I'll stick around here for a little longer. Maybe I was wrong in my assessment that this island doesn't really make a ton of money because that's pretty solid already, I've got to say. We've also completed all of the first chapter of the Lotus Atoll and quite a bit of that second chapter. And now we are extremely close to our next level. And there's a fourth frog coin, man. Holy, there's 2 million coins now. Listen, it doesn't sound like a lot, but over the course of a half hour fishing here, not bad. I've got to say, it's probably even less than a half hour, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm so used to terrible money making, absolutely nothing coming into my wallet, that any amount of money is super nice. And there's another rare item. We got the reverse reforged stone. I don't know how much that thing is worth. Let's go check that. That is 25,000 coins? Okay, well, you know what? At least it's something. After hitting that level milestone, I decided to take a rest for the night and come back refreshed for day 2. Moving on to the second day, though, there wasn't a lot going on, mostly because I had to be out of town for the majority of the day. Aside from a calcified heart, which we picked up early on, we didn't end up getting a lot of rare drops. We also wanted to pick up a Megalodon pet for about 2.8 million coins. This was going to be instrumental for us doing the fishing festival efficiently. We also decided to pick up a washed up souvenir and apply that to the Megalodon. We were going to prepare as much as we could for that fishing festival, which would begin at the beginning of the third day. In terms of other major events, I did end up reaching the Fishing 26 milestone, which was pretty nice. So here we are on day 3 of the Skill Locked profile. Apologies for not getting a lot of progress done on day 2. I was out of the house, but we are back here, and as you can see, it is currently a fishing festival, meaning we can get sharks, which is really good. Not only are they solid XP, but it is going to be quite a bit of money. And not only that, but Marina is now mayor as part of Jerry's Perkpocalypse perk, meaning I get a whole lot of XP anyway. It's going to be really nice to level the skill during the next few hours while we have the 50 fishing wisdom active as part of Marina's perk line. We're going to be able to get a lot done, so let's get into it. We actually got off to a bit of a slow start with the beginning of the fishing festival. We didn't really drop any great white shark teeth, despite getting quite a few sharks to spawn. Eventually, we ended up with a couple of shark teeth, as well as a few epic Megalodon pets. The event was extremely fun though, and we were gaining XP at an incredibly fast rate. So far from the event, we already have 14 enchanted shark fins. I don't know what I'm going to do with all these. I think I'm just going to either keep them and upgrade my gear, or just full on sell them. But that is quite a lot. And there we go, another Megalodon pet, so we're up to 3 so far, although we haven't gotten any legendaries. And there's Megalodon number 4, as you can see, so we're actually getting quite a few of these in a short time frame, and we're also very close to the next level, now at 92%. Someone got a double hook wiki tiki. That's very fun. Don't think I'm going to be able to get anything off of these guys, but worth a shot at the very least. Looks like the answer is no. And we're now extremely close to our next level. We're at 99.81, 99.92, and there we go. Fishing, I believe that's 27. Theoretically, we could start going over to the Crimson Isle pretty soon if we wanted to. I think I'm going to wait another level or 2, though, There's Megalodon pet number 5. Once again, an epic pet, so we're not really making any progress on legendaries, but at least we have a lot of epics we could turn in for a decent amount of money. I think we're up to 2.5 million coins in epics at the moment. Well, the fishing festival has now wrapped up, and I didn't end up getting anything else in terms of rare drops, but I'm still pretty happy with what I did get. As you can see, there is a lot of money that I can make just from selling stuff. I also want to sell the Great White Shark Teeth, or rather, I actually want to buy 2 more. The reason why is that for the next event, I want to make sure I have the upgraded Shark Tooth necklace. And there we go, Razor Sharp Shark Tooth necklace. That gives us a bit of an upgrade there, as you can see. Up to 266 magical power, which is nice. We also have these 5 Megalodons. I think I'm just going to sell them to George. I can just bring them here and then, you know, boom. Up to 2 million now, and then 2.5 million coins. We can also sell these green Jerry boxes for about 450k almost. And then we have these enchanted shark fins as well, which we can sell for about 500,000 coins. I think now I'm going to go and pick up a magma rod. As you can see, the recipe for it is just a bunch of silver magma fish and sticks, although we can't craft it, so we will have to buy it, which is fine. I was looking through to see if we could get any with a reforge already on the magma rod, but I'm gonna be honest, nobody is selling one of these with reforges for anything less than 12 million coins, which I'm just not willing to pay right now, I'm going to be honest. We're gonna buy the cheapest one here for about 350,000 coins. Where is it? Right there. This is basically what we'll be using for lava fishing for now. I actually didn't end up selling all of my enchanted shark fins, and I wanted to use these to make the rest of the Achithic gear if we could. So there's the Achithic gloves. So hold on. Here we go. So now we have a few more upgrades there. So that brings our fishing speed up quite a bit higher. If I were to just hold out my rod, up to 252 fishing speed, which is pretty solid. And also consider that this is, you know, with my Megalodon that isn't fully maxed out right now. If we were to use a better fishing speed pet like our flying fish, we would have a lot more fishing speed, you know, over 300 right now, 301. Something else we can pick up here is expertise. This is a stacking enchant we can put on our fishing rod. And I wanted to put it on both my Rod of the Sea and maybe my Magma Rod, although I'm a little bit more hesitant because it doesn't have a reforge on it. But for now, I will pick up 2 of them. I'll at least put one on my Rod of the Sea. That is going to be really nice. It's going to give us some bonus sea creature chance as well as fishing wisdom, making our fishing rod just a whole lot better. There we go. I can also go back to the bazaar because I was picking up some wet books. Now I can go over to my anvil and I can put that on my magma rod. These are pretty cheap. It's only about 100,000 coins, and it's going to get me a little bit more fishing speed, which is pretty needed, I've got to say. Next, we're going to head back over to the Bayou. I know we're jumping between a lot of different things. We're going to buy up a second speedy line here. It's 8 busted belt buckles to get one of those. Then we're going to head over to Roddy, and then we're going to take our magma rod. We're going to put on the speedy line, and we're going to put on the stingy sinker. And there we go. As you can see now, we get 10 fishing speed from that, as well as a 10% chance not to consume bait. Here's a pretty big upgrade for our Lock Emperor. We go from a total of 2 wisdom up to 4 wisdom. So, hey, that's something at the very least. Wanted to also pick up a sea creature artifact. It wasn't really super high on my list before this point, but I might as well have one going into the future. There we go, up to 271 magical power. There's a golden Jerry. Haven't gotten one of these yet so far. Let's kill this guy. And there we go. That gives us a golden Jerry box, which we could sell for about 800,000 coins. Very nice little reward while we're just fishing here. We're just going to insta-buy the remaining 9 Lock Emperor shards I need. I just wanted to get this done and out of the way. Hold on, let's go over to the attribute menu. Pull up here. There we go. Sea Wisdom 10. That means now we have a total of 5 fishing wisdom. Also, if we head over to our Skyblock profile, you can see that we have a total of 103 fishing wisdom. Been fishing for quite a while now. We're 90% of the way through this level, and frankly, not a lot has happened. It's been a pretty quiet couple hours, just kind of grinding stuff out before Marina leaves Jerry's perk pool. For now, we're going to probably hit that next level. I think we'll be at Fishing 28 then, which will be pretty nice. We unlock a few more sea creatures at that point. We can also pick up a Soul Whip at some point in the future. That's going to be a huge upgrade to our damage on sea creatures. We'll need about 26 mil for it though, which we definitely can get. We have more than enough resources that we could just sell for a lot of money. Probably will end up doing that over the next few hours. We are at 99.8% of the way through this fishing level, and someone summoned a Titanoboa. There we go. We get the Nutcracker and Mugma. And level 120. Look at that. Level 120 on Skill Locked, which feels pretty nice, I've got to say. And we have 26 hours now on the Bayou. And as well, we have a little bit of time on the Atoll. I figure we'll go back to the Atoll for a little bit after this. And if we go all the way up to Fishing 30, we get access to the Titanoboa, as you can see here. That would be extremely cool if we could get that by the end of this week as well. It gives a lot of fishing XP, as you can see, as well as the rare drops. Super nice. Condensed lily pads, which are great. Bobbin scriptures, which is cool. Titanoboa shed, I think that's like 80 mil right now, if I look that up. Actually, yeah, it's about 80 million coins. So if we were to drop something like that, it'd be completely absurd. There's a frog prince, and we didn't get anything crazy. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I think that being on the Lotus Atoll is just better for XP. I know I've been back and forth between islands, trying to figure out what to do, but to get to Fishing 30, I think I'm going to stay here. There we go. Fishing 29, which is pretty cool. 325k coins. And now we move on to try to go for Fishing 30, and it definitely feels like the Lotus Atoll is the way to go when it comes to XP. There is a Frog Prince. Gotta kill this guy. That's a potential big drop, and we got nothing. Probably going to wrap up day number 3 soon, but we've made a lot of progress today. As you can see, we're about a third of the way through Fishing 29. I want to try to hit Fishing 30 tomorrow, but I won't be super active as I am celebrating my birthday. What I will say is that hopefully by the end of this fishing week, we will be at Fishing 32 to 35 would be a crazy goal to hit. Something else I wanted to do before I logged off for the evening, I wanted to actually make one of the new minions as part of the update that added the Lotus Atoll, the new fishing island. And that is the Lily Pad minion. This currently makes a lot of money. And I want to put one down on my island for pretty obvious reasons. Okay, the lily pad minions have been placed, and they will start generating me a lot of lily pads that we will be able to sell in future weeks. Oh yeah, another fun fact, if you could even call it that, is that currently, if you go over to the election booth, Marina is winning, and this would have been so nice to have on a fishing week, I've gotta say, but she'll be elected by the time that my week is done, and I'll be moved on to another skill, so that is pretty bad luck for me. Welcome to day 4 of Skill Locked Fishing. Now, we are currently about 44% of the way through our next level. We're going for Fishing 30, and we're back here on the Lotus Atoll. We're waiting on another marina that will happen later this evening. That point will probably be at Fishing 30, maybe 31, and the goal by the end of the night is to be above Fishing 30 at the very least, but also be in a good position to start lava fishing. I really want to get over there by the end of the week. I know for XP alone, it's probably best if I just got a really high amount of sea creature chance and just full focused on Strider Surfers. I don't really want to do that. It's not the most interesting content-wise. It doesn't make much money. This profile and the entire series is built around multiple different goals. It's not just about maxing out the skills as fast as possible. It's about making money while doing so I can carry that money into future weeks. If I do regular lava fishing, I'll be getting a lot of XP while still also having potential to make some money. So that's what we're going to do. Oh yeah, I'm going to do a little bit of a pack opening here. I have a lot of cans of worms and I don't want to sell them. So here we go. We're just going to start opening up all of them and see what we end up getting. Something else to note here is that the can of worms are actually not affected by fishing wisdom seemingly. So if I look right now, you can see I have 600,524. And if I go through, I got a 1000 there, and it goes right up to 601,524. So it doesn't actually matter whether or not you have fishing wisdom when you're opening up cans of worms. And I know a lot of people use these to go all the way up to like fishing 28 if they're just trying to get to it as fast as possible. I hope in the future they make your fishing wisdom actually count for the cans of worms. It's kind of weird that they don't. Well, that wraps up all of our cans of worms. This is how much bait we got. I've got to say, we got a lot of fish bait as well as spiked bait. So I'm pretty happy with this overall, and we're up to about 634k fishing XP. We were at around 45% or 46% through the level before. Now we're at 52. Definitely a lot less progress, but hey, at least it's something. Here's another frog prince. Took a while to get that. We're 93% of the way through the level now. And let's see if we can get anything at all from this guy. Although, I'm going to be real. Yeah, it's not very likely. And we got a total of nothing from that. Now at 99.7% through the level. It's taken quite a while to get here. Although, frankly, it's not as bad as I thought. I think I've been fishing for about an hour since I woke up. And I was at 44% through the level. So around an hour and a half per level at this point on the Lotus Atoll, which I've got to say, for fishing 30 isn't really that terrible, especially considering, we're not at the point where we're really lava fishing yet. But there we go. Fishing 30, Lava Leech unlocked, and Titanoboa unlocked if we go back to the Bayou at any point. 5 HP, 350k coins, 20 Skyblock XP. We're doing extremely well. Now we got to figure out what we're going to do next. Okay, so now that we're fishing 30, we can upgrade our magma rod into an inferno rod. The problem is I can't really do that because I need magma fish collection. So we're going to sell back our magma rod and then buy up an inferno rod. We're going to take off our speedy line as well as the stingy sinker, and then we're going to put this up for, I believe, just a few 100,000 coins. I'm going to be honest here, magma rods are super cheap, as you can see here, and I don't want to overcharge for it. I think with all of the enchants on it, as well as the wet books, it's going to be about 700 and maybe 800,000 coins. Let's try 800k. Let's put that up for 6 hours, and let's see what we can find. Yeah, I might just pick up the cheapest one. I'm going to be real here. I could always just apply some upgrades. And let's buy the cheapest one here for 12.5 million coins. There we go. Very nice. And now let's enchant it. Okay, I did some research and I found something really interesting. I'm going to pick up this salt cube. This is a reforge. But if I try to put it on my fishing rod, you'll see I'm actually able to do it. This is one of the very few reforges in the game that you can apply without a mining level. So there we go. We were able to apply it onto our Inferno rod. I still have 0 mining XP. So we just started fishing here on the Crimson Isle, and I found out a few pieces of information that I think are pretty relevant. First, I am not doing enough damage, and I need to get a Soul Whip kind of as soon as possible. But secondly, I got a Vanquisher on my first kill. And I was worried initially that the Vanquisher would give me some amount of combat XP. And originally I was just going to be like, listen, there's nothing I can do to avoid it. I don't want to swap lobbies every time I get one. Whatever, it's just going to be a part of the game that we can't avoid. But I didn't do any damage to the Vanquisher, and I didn't get any combat XP out of it. So that's a very nice positive. I won't be getting any combat XP from those guys, but I can still get the Nether Stars. Also, I will have to fill up my inventory with a bunch of nonsense because I am worried about getting some of the treasure drops. Notably, they can be many different collection items, notably mining collection items, and I worry about fulfilling any of the mining collections that give you mining XP. I don't want to ruin this. Taking a look at the auction house, we can see this fast soul whip here for about 20 million coins. I think it's the one I'm going to go for, considering many of the other ones are just either unenchanted. As you can see, we have about 9 mil right now, but we can do a lot of selling if we wanted to. It's just going to be trying to figure out what I want to sell. I think I'm going to get rid of much of this alligator skin as well. We'll sell all that for another 20 million. I decided to sell the alligator skin a little bit quicker because I really want to pick up this fast soul whip. I want to say it's the best option for me given the circumstances, and I don't want to spend 29 mil on a fabled soul whip, even though that may just be better. The fast one will have to do. There we go. We picked that up. So now we have fully upgraded our Soul Whip. We got a bunch of extra enchants added onto it. We've also put a bunch of hot potato books on it. And now we're going to test it out. This is the real test here. How much damage does this do? It seems like it does about 60,000 damage, which is definitely better than my sword, I've got to say. And there we go. There's the kill. That's actually a Mugma unlocked. And we actually get some Mugma pelt out of that. What can we actually make with this? Can we make anything with this? I don't even know. But anyway, 60k damage, definitely not the worst in the world. I've got to say, it's better than my sword at the very least. Just picked up a little bit of red sand, and in the long term, it's on one of my items to ignore because, as you can see, it gives 10k mining XP if I get 25,000 of it. So we're going to toss that back into the lava here. We don't want it in the future, and I'll make sure not to pick any of it up. I think now we're going to cut our Crimson Isle adventure a little bit short. We did get a little bit of fishing done, but right now the TPS of the lobby is dying. I think it's currently Aatrox, which sort of makes sense as to why that's happening. The progress is fairly slow, though. I definitely need to level up a bit more and maybe work on my Soul Whip a little bit more. I wonder if there's anything else I could do to it to try to increase its damage. Although that's not realistically the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the lack of fishing speed. I need to upgrade my Achithic gear. I need to get something better than the backwater necklace. And I also need to look into upgrading my flying fish. Just 80 fishing speed off of this pet is not enough. I probably want to get a legendary variant though. Having access to the Soul Whip, though, is great when we head back to places like the Bayou, especially since now I can fish up Titanoboas, which their rare drop is worth quite a lot of money, and I'll be able to do a lot more damage than I was in the past, meaning I can get easier kills, meaning potentially more loot. Marina's second perk, Apocalypse, is now active. So as you can see, we have all of these buffs, including 50 fishing wisdom, 15 sea creature chance, and bonus double hook chance currently active. We're going to be around for the fishing festival, which is going to be in just about 15 minutes. We're going to do that, try to make as much money as possible, get as much XP as possible, but the rates should be fairly solid. And the fishing festival has officially started, a weird start at around 6 p.m. Skyblock time instead of the usual midnight. Very interesting. It'll go for the next hour. Let's see what we're able to get. Although obviously the start will be pretty slow. Hopefully we pick up quite a few good shark kills, get ourselves some really solid progress through this level. As you can see, the amount of XP we're getting is already really, really nice. Ooh, there's a fun little reward. We got a legendary dolphin pet now for getting a total of 10,000 sea creatures. That is really nice, I've got to say. And another great white. I'm having pretty solid luck on these so far. Although, in terms of drops, I am having far less good luck. That's 4 sharks so far since the beginning of the festival. Now 5. Let's see if we go 1 for 5. Hopefully we can. That would be really, really nice. Yes, we can. There's a great white shark tooth. Very nice. And another great white shark. That's number 6. And there's another great white shark tooth. Very nice. Great white number 7. And no drop there. And another great white shark. Let's see what we get. Looks like the answer is nothing, but we do get a bestiary milestone, and I also got an epic megalodon a little while ago. Ooh, there's my first ever Titanoboa. I actually ended up dying to it. Oh, I don't want to die to it again. Whole lot of nothing, but we get 35,000 fishing XP. That is extremely nice, I've got to say. We're up to 90% through the level. We are now 99% through this level. We're very close to fishing 31. We're doing pretty solidly on loot. We're up to 3 megalodon pets, and we're getting a ton of lily pads as well. And there we go. Fishing 31 now unlocked. We get the magma pillar as well as the pyroclastic worm. 375k coins. Let's go on to fishing 32. And number 11, there we go. Ooh, we actually get a legendary megalodon. We can sell that for quite a bit of money. Very nice to see that drop. And we get another great white shark tooth. I don't know if that was this megalodon or this great white rather, or the last one. Still really cool to see. One more great white shark. There we go. And a fourth great white shark tooth. And that concludes the fishing festival. I've got to say, I think this one went a little bit better than the last one. We ended up with a lot of drops, as you can see. 4 great white shark teeth, quite a few epic megalodons, and a legendary one, which is very, very nice. Definitely a profitable fishing festival. We're up to about 16 mil in the bank after I sold off all of the megalodons. We're going to fish for a little while longer. We still have all of these great white shark teeth, which I don't know what I'm going to do with. I'm going to be real here. Going to try to fish up to maybe halfway through the next level. Okay, we are on the last day of Skill Locked. I decided to pick up another booster cookie so we have access to it for the remaining day. Normally I don't do that on the final day of a Skill Locked episode, but I think it's worth it for fishing specifically. We are going to be active pretty much the entire day. Also, I got really unlucky before. I got a double hook Titanoboa, which sounds amazing, right? Except I was in a lobby with very low level players, which it's not their fault, of course. You can come to the bayou whenever you want, but I wasn't able to kill them myself in time. So the 2 Titanoboas, both of them despawned, which is horrible in terms of my luck, but I guess it's just how it goes sometimes. We have to fish up some more. We have a lot of time ahead of us today. Let's keep on fishing. My luck for the next few Titanoboas was equally poor. I didn't get anything off of the next 2. However, pretty quickly, this ended up happening. So far, our luck has not been that crazy on these. But let's give it a shot. Ooh, there's a rare drop. Look at that. Snake Eyes, 38 million coins. I think that's the rarest drop that we've gotten so far. Gives us 1.1 treasure chance when applied to a pet, although I have no use in having that. That is awesome. Very, very nice drop, man. Finally, man. It's taken me all week, but we've got something. We have the Snake Eyes here for 38.9 million coins, which is a little bit under the lowest spin. I don't want to make any extra money off of this. So let's put that up. Hopefully it sells over the next few hours. I would love if it did, man. That would be a good amount of money for us. Personally, I have no use for Snake Eyes. I don't really have any pets that I would want Snake Eyes on. I would much rather have the money as we go into future weeks. But that's a rare drop, man. That's a really nice rare drop as well. If I look up the bestiary for Titanoboa, you can see it's actually rarer than the shed, which is absolutely nuts to think about. We could have gotten the shed off of that. Would have been 80 million instead of 38 million, but I'm happy either way. There's another Titanoboa. Let's see and hope that we actually have enough people to actually do this here. So let's see what we get from this Titanoboa. Hopefully it's something good. Ooh, that is a good drop. A condensed lily pad. Very nice. There's a couple million coins from that. Ooh, there's another Titanoboa. Pretty soon after the last one, I've got to say. We've had pretty solid Titanoboa luck, by the way, today, guys. I've got to say, I feel like I'm doing way better than most odds would end up being for Titanoboas. But let's try to get this damage in. 1.5 million HP to go. Please stick around for just a little bit longer. Alright, there we go. We did get the kill. We didn't get anything off of that, but I'll take it. We are at 99.83% through the level currently. Now at 99.94. This will be fishing 32, which is pretty nuts. Did not expect to make this much progress this week, and we'll have a lot of time remaining in the day. Maybe we'll be able to get another level. But yeah, there we go. Fishing 32, 400,000 coins. We get another sea creature at fishing 33 as we go on towards that. There we go. We have sold the Snake Eyes for 38 million coins. We get 38.5 mil back, and we're up to a 60 mil purse after we sold pretty much everything else from the other day on the bazaar. We also have more we could sell, as you can see. 5 mil in ink sacks, another 2.3 in tiger shark teeth. And if we were to sell all of our busted belt buckles, that's a whole lot more money. Another 26 mil there. and another 18 mil in rusty coins. So we could have over 100 mil in our bank if we wanted to. Problem is, we're still dealing with the same problem that we were in a prior week. We can't go above a 50 million coin bank balance. So I am going to have to pull out like 5 mil and just hold on to the rest of the money in our purse. But still, we have made a lot of money, refilled our coffers. We are ready to take on future weeks. We still have a few more hours to go. We're halfway through fishing 32. Let's go for fishing 33. We are now 99.7% through this level, about to hit fishing 33, which is where I think I'm going to call it for the evening. We've done a lot of fishing today, gone up a few levels. I would have loved to be able to do more lava fishing. The problem at this point, realistically, is just that I haven't gotten a mining week, so my accessory bag is comedically small. I can't apply reforges in the way that I would like to, and I have no magical power compared to like what a normal player would have if they were going to lava fish. Obviously, a lot of people talk about, you want to wait to lava fish until you have hype or whatever. I don't think that's true. I think I could get by with a soul whip, but not this soul whip. I need to upgrade it. I need a better reforge on it, and I just don't have the money, nor do I have the ability to deal enough damage to those lava sea creatures. But there we go. Fishing 33, Lava Flame unlocked. That's another sea creature there. And next time around, we'll be going for fishing 34. And we're fairly close to some big jumps. I think at 36, you get access to Thunders, which is crazy. We're not that far off. Some crazy luck this week. I think we're pretty happy leaving it at fishing 33. In terms of what I'm using, I have my Soul Whip, my Pitchin' Rod of the Sea, my full calcified shark scale gear, as well as my Achithic equipment and my backwater necklace. I'm also using a dolphin pet right now that's legendary, but I also have my Megalodon, as well as an Ammonite in the background for when I eventually have a mining week happen. My flying fish has served me extremely well, as well as my frog briefly during the first week, but we're doing pretty solidly, I would say. Okay, everybody, it's that time of the week. We are about to spin the wheel, but before we do, I also wanted to mention I'm pretty happy with all of the rare drops we got. Notably, I've got to say, getting that Titanoboa drop, the Snake Eyes, was super amazing and made up for so much of the bad luck we've had in the past few weeks. We haven't gotten a lot of rare drops, but this really changed the game. But for now, let's go spin the wheel. And here we are, back at the wheel. We have combat, mining, and farming currently on the wheel. And this one's a big one, because whatever we end up getting on the wheel here is what we're likely going to do for the Year 500 event and raffle. And there are a bunch of bonuses during that time. But let's spin. Let's see what we get here. And the answer is... it looks like it's gonna be a farming week. Okay, I'm actually pretty down with that. We'll be able to make a lot of progress and make a lot of money. And that concludes this episode of Skyblock Skill Locked. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Use code RAIL on the Hypixel store for 5% off your order. And look to the future, fellas. I'll see you then.